You want to know what I find sad? There's too much content in the world. You could spend an entire lifetime trying to watch every TV show out there, every movie, and you still wouldn't have enough time. Because you got to keep in mind too, there are brand new episodes, brand new shows coming out, brand new movies coming out every single day. There is just too much content out there. And let's take it a step further. Go beyond just simply movies and TV shows. What about other content? YouTube videos. There is who knows how many videos being posted every single second. Aside from YouTube, there are other websites on the internet with videos to watch. Let's take it even a step further than that. Not just shows, movies, videos. What about video games? You know, video games take a lot of hours to complete. You know how many there are there? Official games, AAA games, indie games. Games like Concord. What about commercials? What about those very deep-cut, lost, forgotten videos that are super hard to find? Because the other day I saw on Instagram a very old commercial I used to see on TV that just unlocked memories from the past. It was a really old Yop commercial. Remember the Yop yogurt? Where it was a bunch of kids, a bunch of teens in bed, and then their mouth would move with really deep voice. Remember that commercial? I remember seeing that on TV. I don't really see Yop anymore. I don't know if the brand still exists. So I find it kind of sad. There is too much content in the world to where you could spend an entire lifetime trying to consume it all, and you just simply couldn't because there's too much. You know, there's who knows how many hours of YouTube content being posted every single second. There's thousands, millions of TV shows coming out every single day. It's not just English shows too. What about TV programs from across the world? Commercials, advertisements, they all count as content. And you know what? Speaking of content, so today, we have a good lot of stuff to talk about. Ooh, it's hot in this room. Can you believe it's taken Giratina this long, and we still don't have it yet? .500 minutes of content is uploaded each second on YouTube. Jesus. 500 minutes of content every second. That is, 7-8 hours every second? There just isn't enough lifespan in a human being to consume everything. And, you know, I do find that kind of sad. Oh, before we start, I heard from 3C Films, I didn't hear from him personally, I saw his video, that Funko Pops may go out of business. How crazy is that? The juggernaut that is Funko Pops may be going out of business. Because from what I hear from his video, they just don't have money anymore. They have no more money to produce new figures. How crazy is that? Now, I've dabbled a bit in Funko Pop collecting. I don't go crazy and collect every single one, because just like the amount of content in the world, it's impossible to collect all of them. So I only collected the ones I wanted, characters I wanted, things that looked cool, special editions like, I don't know, a gold Spider-Man. I purchased a handful. But it's still kind of sad to see Funko Pops go, if it were to happen. Well, a part of me wishes I could say, well, if Nintendo discontinued Amiibo, I'm not gonna lie, I would be kind of happy, because they're expensive. And that also would mean a complete collection I could have, instead of always waiting for a new one to release. I've collected them all, I'm done, moving on with my life. But Nintendo, need I say more? Holy moly, I see here Kirby Air Riders is $99.99. So is Age of Imprisonment. So if I want to buy a Switch 2, that alone is what, $800? And then these two exclusives right here are $200 alone. Ay, 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 ay. I still haven't gotten my game back, by the way. My cousin borrowed my game this past summer. I still don't have it back yet. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get them back. Oh, that's right. I was supposed to look into Rosalina's storybook, see if that's available to order yet. No, it releases the 25th of November. So it's still 2 more weeks until I could get my hands on this absolute waste of money. Doesn't even have the new chapters in it, but yeah, I will buy it. You know what I've actually been debating? Before we get into talking about the shows, I've debated, do I buy another set of Joy-Cons, specifically these Joy-Cons, if you can even see. These are the Skyward Sword ones. I love these ones. And I played these to destruction. The right one no longer works. I tried looking into the Nintendo repair service that they offered a couple years ago. I broke my Joy-Cons a couple years ago, and they had a service where you mail them in and they'll repair it. I'm pretty sure they just sent me a replacement pair instead of repairing it, but whatever. I tried looking into that, and I don't know if it exists anymore. So part of me is thinking, do I just straight up buy another one of these? That's the whole reason I bought 2 of these. Because I knew they would break eventually, so I would have a backup pair. But now, do I pull out the backup pair and buy another one as a backup pair again? I still can't get my hands on the Mario Red Joy-Cons. I see on the Nintendo store they had refurbished, but sold out at the moment. Well, I doubt they'll ever come back. Oh yeah, I got some amiibos in the mail. I got the Metroid. Why can't I speak? Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I got the Samus one right here, if you can see that. Whoops. I also have the one with Samus on the bike. I don't have the third one yet. I don't know what happened to that one. See? I have this one right here. Very zoomed in. Yeah, I don't know what happened to the third one. I know I ordered it. Okay, let's talk about these shows. We got 4 shows to talk about today. We, of course, have the continuation of Peacemaker Season 3, Gen V Season 2, and new additions we have It Welcome to Derry and Hazbin Hotel Season 2. A lot of good content these days. I am aware of certain things that that happens in the show. I don't exactly know what the ending is specifically. I know the ending was disappointing, but I haven't seen exactly what it is yet. Like, I tried to avoid it all this time. So I shall see when I get to it. But for now, I'm only 3 episodes in to Season 2. Same with Gen V. You know, I also looked up when Season 4 of From will come out. It's supposed to come out early next year. Yippee. In fact, from what I see online, it just wrapped filming. They filmed from like July to November. Which isn't bad. Isn't that bad of a filming time span. You know, that's like 5 months. That's not bad for an entire season of television. I mean, it is only, what was it, 8, 10 episodes? I think it was 10. 10 episodes, you know, it's not like the past 16 to 22 episodes, which would take like 9 to 10 months to film. So yeah, they're done wrapping, and also it's not that heavy of a show, spectacle-wise. Anyways, let's get into it. Peacemaker, Season 2, Episode 3. We actually begin, what was it, 4 years earlier? 3 years earlier? A couple years earlier, I think. And hey, surprise! I was really not expecting this. I did not know this was gonna happen the entire time. Rick Flag returned. Rick Flag Jr. Now, he's still dead. Peacemaker killed him in the Suicide Squad, so Rick Flag is still dead. But I was surprised to see him return. You know, it was all, not all, actually it was not all flashbacks. What was the actor's name again? Joel Kinnaman, that's right. How did I forget his name? I was really surprised to see Joel Kinnaman return as Rick Flag. I mean, it is all flashbacks. But yeah, he returned. So, Rick Flag returned, and we see the morning after, or actually, we see the morning after that Rick and Harcourt hooked up. Now, nothing serious, they just had some adult fun. And, oof, God, this has to sting, because Rick, he was saying, Amelia was asking, like, shouldn't you go and see your girlfriend, who, June? She's a sorceress. I'm afraid if I'll break up with her, she'll make a big hole in the planet. So, it's kind of cool that they still referenced Enchantress, you know, June Moon. It kind of sucks that she was only in the one movie. Remember, Rick Flag and June, they hooked up in the first Suicide movie, released the Ayer cut. But Rick is actually contemplating breaking up with June and hooking up with Harcourt instead. Although, like I said, this has to sting. Amelia's just like, you're my only friend in this entire place. And they just, you know, did some dirty deed fun. It's like, oof, that has to sting. That has to sting pretty hard, Rick. Harcourt also says that, come on, you're being shipped out to Corto Maltese tomorrow. So this is a day before the Suicide Squad happened. And then we also get this montage of what happened in Corto Maltese. Peacemaker killed him. And of course, it transitioned perfectly into the opening sequence. So we see Chris wake up in the other universe, because remember at the end of the last episode, they partied. Chris kinda was thrashed verbally by Harcourt. So he drunkenly went home, went into the portal door he has, and went to the other universe. So he wakes up because his brother Keith woke him up. He also checks his phone and sees that this universe's Harcourt texted him saying she wants to meet at work, 12 p.m. sharp. Don't be late. And then when he takes a super long piss, it's already 11:35, so he has to get going. But because he's in a different world, he doesn't know where the places are. Despite the fact that... I was about to say despite the fact that he just used Google Maps, but he didn't know where the location was, like the name. So he just like, hey Keith, trick question, pop quiz. What is the name and the exact address of where I work? What? Why do you need to know where Argus is? Argus, great. Also, can I borrow the keys to your truck? What do you mean? Why not just take your peace cycle? That is the correct answer right there. So the peacemaker of this world had his own peace motorcycle. Oh yeah, he also rummages through his very own closet of clothing. So he dresses up like, as he puts it, like one of the Kardashians, and Keith is just like, who are the Kardashians? Really? This world doesn't have the Kardashians. So Chris drives his motorcycle with his Peacemaker helmet on, and everyone loves him. Everyone's cheering for him. A kid rolled down his windows and even cries at the sight of him because of how much he loves him. Even Chris is like, that's a bit much. And then a woman from the car next to him flashes her tits at him. Very nice visuals, may I say. Further cementing that Chris believes this is the best dimension ever. But I already know the twist that's coming up. So, yeah. It's just building him up just to beat him down once again. So Chris, he goes all the way to Argus, and hey! Actually, before that, he goes into Argus. Pretty funny. He goes to the front lobby, he tries to get in. The receptionist front guard person was just like, hey Chris, how was the test with that guy? It's like, oh yeah, it came out great, came out perfect, came out positive, amazing. He's like, oh, I don't know why you're so excited about the cancer test. So after a retinal scan, which he was terrified of for some reason, should have been the same anyways. I mean, then again, this is the DC universe with shapeshifters, magic, and whatnot. If the retinal scan didn't match, despite him having the same face, he could have been detained. He was in frickin' Argus, of all places. So he enters Argus, and Rick Flag Jr. is still alive in this universe. He's very clumsy, not like the Rick Flag we knew. And it even seems like in this universe, too, Flag and Harcourt had a thing. So Chris and Amelia, they walk out, they take a walk, they chat. It was, it was one of those cliche lovey-dovey couples moments. They walk around, they see a mural of Peacemaker, White Dragon, and I don't know the code name for his brother. They see a mural worshipping them. They go to the park, grab hot dogs. There was this moment where Amelia crouches down and pets a dog, looking all beautiful. How can you not fall in love with her? That kind of thing. So then they sit down, and Chris, pretending to be his doppelganger, is just like, I've changed. I've really done a lot of thinking, and I've changed. By the sounds of it, his doppelganger wasn't the best person. So yeah, he tries to talk to Amelia. How crazy is this? His doppelganger's ex. And as they finished discussing, as they were about to get up, leave, go back to Argus, because Amelia has to get back to work, Well, an explosion happens out of nowhere, flat out just jump scaring us. And it's a group known as the Sons of Liberty. Haven't I heard that name before? So the Sons of Liberty are taking this building hostage. And Peacemaker, he just goes in and slaughters all of them. It's nice to know that he still is skilled without his suit and gadgets. Because remember, Peacemaker was raised by his father who was in the army from a young age. Anything in his hands is a deadly weapon. So one by one, he kills all of the Sons of Liberties, disarming the bomb as well. There was a helicopter with more Sons of Liberty approaching, but then Keith with his super suit comes in and crashes that as well. Everyone loves Peacemaker. They're cheering for him. They're celebrating him. So now, they're back home. Keith is wondering, hey Chris, why are you acting weird? You're drinking again? You're not on the pills again, are you? Because remember, he lost his brother a long time ago. So this universe is great in his perspective. His brother is alive here. His dad actually loves him. He's worshipped here. And he may have a shot with the woman he loves, albeit her doppelganger. I tell you what, if all of these were in place, I would jump ship also. I would absolutely move universes if all these things were in the right place. Hell yeah, I would jump ship. I would leave everything and everyone behind if it meant I could go to a universe where I had everything perfectly, everything I ever wanted. You know, you kind of understand Scarlet Witch's motivation, albeit she could have just picked a different universe. Alright, so that's Peacemaker's storyline. So the other storyline in this episode, so now that they all finish partying from the last episode, they all wake up with heavy hangovers. Adrian being himself, he's just like, I know so many facts about tarantulas, other animals, quiz me. Trying to get rid of him. Harcourt is just like, hey, I saw John pass out in the bathtub. Maybe check on him. I'm afraid he may have choked on his vomit. So he goes over and checks in on him. Adebayo has a conversation with Harcourt. Like, hey, why don't the two of you hook up? You know, he's tall, muscular, strong jawline, and he's in love with you. Why not? And Harcourt just isn't feeling it. Isn't having it. So Economos in the bathtub quizzes Adrian on tarantula facts until he gets a call from, I think her name was Sarah. The very, very attractive new character. Man, I saw a meme online. It's like, where does James Gunn meet all of these women? Because you cannot deny James Gunn has very beautiful women in his projects. So he gets called in because, remember, last episode, Eagly completely decimated this Argus SWAT team. One of them had his eyeball ripped out. The other one's in the ICU. Oh, what was the character's name again? Oh, no, it's not Sarah. It's Sasha. That was her name. Shit, what the hell was the character's name again? Didn't it start with an F? Flurry, that's it. So Flurry is just like, why would someone take advantage of my bird blindness? He told me duck. I didn't say duck, I said eagle. So Economos reports in to Sasha. And yeah, it's just like, why would I say duck to him? Why would I tell him duck? To take advantage of my disability? Is it funny? Yes, very. So now they are plotting something against Peacemaker. They even call in an eagle killing specialist. And, you know, last time, speaking of Michael Rooker, he has yet another James Gunn role. As if playing Savant wasn't enough, as if voicing that one character in Creature Commandos wasn't enough, now he has a whole new role. So yeah, Michael Rooker now plays this eagle killer. And of course, Economos is against it, because Eagly is his friend, is his friend's pet eagle. So they roll up to Peacemaker's house, and Peacemaker is now walking back from the other universe. He's going through the door, he's about to open the door back into his universe, his house, and that's where the episode ends. Peacemaker is about to be ambushed when he opens the door back to his world. There was a scene earlier before Economos left. He asked, where the hell are his pants? And Adrian's just like, oh, I took them off and I washed them for you. Post-credit scene, we see exactly that. We see Adrian take off Economos' pants as he's sleeping in the bathtub. He even gives him a light little kiss on the forehead. Did I forget anything? Oh shit, I just spilled some water. Hold on. Why won't Giratina be shiny? God damn it! You know how many hours it's been? It's been like, what, 35 hours of non-stop hunting? Well, not really non-stop. But it's been like 35 hours of hunting for Giratina and still no shiny? You know what I've considered, actually? Clearly I'm hunting this on Ultra Moon. I've actually considered trying Ultra Sun, just to see if my luck would be any better. Not like it will make a difference, but you never know. Alright, Peacemaker is out the way. Let's talk about Gen V. I am very late to going over this show. A friend of mine, the same douchebag who recommended From, he was just like, did you watch Gen V yet? We gotta discuss it. And I'm just like, no, I ain't watched the show yet. So I told him, after a hiatus, I'm continuing Gen V. He replied to me, okay, let me know what you think. So then I replied to him, I'm still waiting for your fucking Arrow hiatus to end. Why don't you let me know what you think? Oops. Actually, let me fix this real quick. Alright. Gen V, Season 2, Episode 3. So we start off with this disgusting human. I'm kidding. So we meet this girl. I don't even know if we heard her name. We follow this human girl going to the Godolphin campus. And she works at that little coffee stand in the middle of the school. You know, there's a human entrance for the school now compared to a soup entrance. So, human entrance, there's this dude with x-ray vision scanning her, licking his lips. God's sake, man. So, she's working at this little coffee stand, and there's a piece of paper that says resist with, like, I think a yellow star on it, you know, being put up by someone who's a starlighter. And there's a very big political divide, not just on the campus, the entire world right now. So the students who support Homelander don't like that. So this very big fat student comes up and threatens her, like, you think that's funny? Putting that resist, you know, that starlighter supporting paper up? Almost threatening to kill her too. And no matter how many times this girl tries to take down the paper, it just goes back up. But we don't see anyone put it up. Anyway, so that's the opening. So we see Marie, Jordan, and Emma at Andre's house. Well, you know, Andre's father's house. And they're discussing Odessa. You know, they found the Odessa files. It turns out Marie is Odessa. But what does that mean? Can they even trust Starlight? Because she asked Marie to find out what Odessa is and destroy it. Well, why would she tell Marie to destroy herself? Why didn't Starlight just do that on the spot had she known Marie was Odessa? So they need to investigate. We also see Kate return to campus. She's pretty beaten up still. You know, I was questioning how did she get her arm back, but it was covered the whole time. She didn't. She has a prosthetic arm. And also, she wears a beanie now because there's a big patch of missing hair on her head. Because, you know, her skull was broken open and she kind of needed surgery there. So that helps cover up the stitches and the bald spot. So as she went onto campus, a ton of students are cheering her on, and then that lady from the first episode welcoming them back, the lady with the stinger, she's just like, back up! Do you want to die? Neither do I! I kind of wonder, why did she just cover up that stinger? If it's that much of a threat, that much of a risk? Just wear something to cover it up. You know what I kind of wonder? You know how Soldier Boy's blast kind of seems like it takes away your soup powers? What'll happen if that blast hits someone with an extension, an appendage that came from Compound V, like a stinger, a tail, an extra body part? What'll happen? Would that just disappear? Would that just dry up and crust away? Or would that still be there? So yeah, Kate could have outed everyone as the ones who attacked her, but she doesn't. Instead, she goes to Cypher, and she's just like, we have to tell them what really happened. They were the ones who attacked me. And Cypher is just like, let's think about this, because it's a pretty bad idea. If you were to announce it, Homelander would go, oh, you're useless now. You're just as useless as another human. What do you think he'll do? Also, we see another class session of them trying to push that button to end the class. Marie cuts her hand so that she can use her blood powers. Part of me wonders, why does she use her blood to restrain instead of just making the blood float over to where the button is and push it? You know, there's no rules that it has to be human touch, or in this case, soup touch, to push the button, right? It doesn't have to say a hand pressing the button, but whatever. Cypher then asks, Marie, why do you have to cut yourself? She's just like, to use my powers? But he's just like, why? And you know what? That's a very good question. Why? Sure, it'd be a very quick access to blood, but with the way Marie's powers work, she should be able to control blood even inside of bodies. She should be able to lift someone up just with her will alone. She may not be able to control someone's mind, per se, but she should be able to control actions even. Like she can control the blood in a person to make that person's arm move, that person walk forward. She should be able to do all that stuff, but it just doesn't seem like she's there just yet. Oh yeah, before, while they were discussing Odessa, she also mentions her Aunt Pam. Not by blood, but it's just a very close family friend who she hasn't spoken to in like 10 years. Maybe she knows answers because Marie was Odessa at birth, so maybe she would know some answers. So Marie goes and looks for her Aunt Pam to get some answers. Marie also has this like pretty awkward discussion with Jordan. Man, Jesus Christ, this was so uncomfortable to watch. There was a lot of things uncomfortable to watch in this episode. Marie talking to Jordan, she was just like, I was a virgin before. It's like, sure, I let that one guy finger me over at Red River. Jesus Christ. But then she's just like, but this is the first time I ever had genital to genital contact. And it's just like, oh my god. Why? I don't want to hear this. Once again, it kind of felt like this is a private discussion I should not be listening in on. It almost felt like I should leave the room and let them discuss it in private. But I'm watching a show. There is no leaving the room. So that kind of freaked Jordan out. Not the virgin part, but the saying I love you part. Because Jordan's just like, you can't say I love you to the first person you have sex with. So then Jordan gets approached by the bee stinger lady. And she's just like, didn't you check your phones? Jordan, you're now #1 on the rankings in the school. That's why there's pictures of you everywhere. So she drags Jordan off to discuss this, like, speech he's going to give, because it's also Thomas Godolkin Day on campus. They're celebrating Thomas Godolkin. I don't know. When I went to school, I never celebrated the founder of the school. That never happened when I went to school. So while Jordan is getting debriefed on everything he needs, what they need to say, he gets a car, he gets a perfume line or whatever. This student teleports in, asks for a selfie, and then he even asks Jordan, can you switch? Can you swap? Jordan's just like, fuck off. Jordan's not sure about all this. He's even given a script to memorize, a speech, and in the speech, the lady's just like, I even personally wrote down, it's transtastic. I'm personally so proud of myself for coming up with that. And I'm just thinking, yeah, Jordan's right. He's not trans. He's, bigender? And she's just like, oh, I'm sorry. Is that too much of a trouble for you? What the hell? And the next time someone asks you to swap, you fucking swap. And do it with a smile. So we see Sam on a picnic with Justine, and, well, Sam is starting to regain his consciousness, regain his grip on reality, because the control that Kate put him under is starting to wear off. So Justine, seeing that Sam is pretty unstable, she breaks up with him. Good. She sucked anyways. So Sam being unstable, he starts hallucinating again in this very don't hug me, I'm scared-esque art style. So he runs and finds Kate, trying to ask her to mind control him again. Oh yeah, that sandwich that he hallucinated was talking to him was repeating some of the guilt he has. That sandwich said stuff like, you were holding back that woman who was screaming for her boyfriend. Remember that? Remember when Sam did that to Kimiko? As Kate took Frenchie away? We still don't know what happened to those characters, by the way. By the way, I heard that season 5 of The Boys is going to have even more political divide into it. Oh my goodness, they are playing with fire. So yeah, Kate claims that she simply just cannot control Sam anymore. So he throws a fit and he completely trashes some poor student's room. So Jordan walks by. They fight. They bash into another student's room where he's just on all fours, completely naked. I'm just like, what? Why? Why? And then it turns out that another person was coming out of his anus. Oh my god. Why? Why? Why include that? Why? So Jordan and Sam are fighting. They're outside in the courtyard now, and then they just talk it out. You know, they reflect on how much they miss Luke. Sam is just like, Luke had the right idea. Just fly up and just poof. But no, he didn't. Not according to Jordan. So what do the two of them do? The two of them, they smoke a doobie, and then they watch some kids shows. They watch some kids programming. Puppeteers of the Deep, Black Noir, selling, a hot lunch. And then we see the freaking logo of the kids program, VOT 7. Oh my god, it was like the same font as 7 Kids as well. You know, they reflect on how Sam would give anything for 5 more minutes with Luke. Or what would Jordan say to Andre if he could? If they could. Well, actually, Jordan was female at the moment. You know, I think it would be nice for Sam to join our group of characters instead of on Kate's side. I think that'd be nice. Despite there being a lot that happened between them, I think it would be nice for them to make up with Kate, and then for them all to be back together again. But I also can see them going down a more villainous route with Kate. I mean, they already provided us the divide between the characters. So, Emma... Emma goes over to that little on-campus coffee shop place, asks for 17 muffins. You know how easy it is for me to down 17 muffins if I have to? But, she notices that the worker there is kind of in distress. So she asks what's going on, and she tells her, that Starlighter paper keeps on appearing, but I can't figure out who's doing it, I am on edge my entire life. I've had like 3 panic attacks already. I'm losing my hair. I'm scared for my life. Emma reasonably asks, why don't you just quit? I would if I could find another job. So Emma is going to help. She deduces that there's only a handful of people, a handful of abilities that can do this. Invisibility? No, Maverick's more into... What did she say? I forget what she said Maverick's more into. Something like furry porn or whatever than actual political stuff. So, it's not invisibility. What about teleportation? Could be a speedster, a shapeshifter. So Emma notices a speedster, so she tries to chase after the speedster, but, speedster, she loses the person. Later on, during Polarity's, marketing class, she notices yellow paint on one of the students' fingers, so she's just like, it's you. I know it's you. What the hell was the character's name again? It was the girl who was friends with Justine. What the hell was her name again? Harper, that's it, Harper. They go into a closet to discuss, and Harper reveals that she is a mimic. She can copy other Soup's powers, but only for like 30 seconds. So she copies Emma's powers, and she shrinks down. So Harper's just like, you won't tell on us, would you? No. Wait, who's us? So Emma goes meet Harper and this other girl who I already forgot the name of. And they're just like, alright, so what are we doing for our movement? We're gonna spray paint, and we're going to... Pretty much it, just spray paint. Emma's just like, you people are doing nothing. Why don't you actually sabotage, damage stuff? That'll make a movement instead of just spray painting stuff. And then she gives a whole speech to them on, the two of them... The two of them don't feel like they're fighters, they're not heroes, but Emma gives them a speech about why they can be. Because Emma thought that way about herself, but then because a certain someone believed in her, believed she could be a hero, she became one. And obviously that was Andre. So, Marie goes and finds her Aunt Pam. Pam doesn't really want anything to do with her, at least at first. Marie is just like... Aunt Pam even tried to adopt Annabeth at some point, but don't know what happened with that. So Marie goes in. Pam gives her pictures of the day she was born. And then she explains that this is the place you were conceived. Marie's just like, I'm sorry, conceived? Because it turns out her parents weren't able to conceive a baby, so when Vought offered to help, they took it. So yeah, that's the place Marie was conceived. So in a moment, Marie forgave her parents. You know, they didn't lace her up with a drug called Compound V for the money. They did it so that they can actually have a child. But then understandably, rightfully so, Marie asks, what about Annabeth? Well, it turns out she really was a miracle. No Compound V needed, or no Vought meddling needed. It makes me kind of wonder, how exactly did Vought even accomplish this? Did they inject one of the parents with Compound V and that V'd up, what, the sperm or egg, depending on which parent? Or, like, how did they actually help them conceive? And then they juiced up the baby after she was born, right? Because it didn't seem like her parents had powers of their own. Because we've learned from Homelander that if you are a soup, you can have babies, and the babies will inherit the powers too. So it didn't seem like Marie's parents had powers themselves. And then, from all the pictures, we also see a picture of Dean Cypher holding Marie as a baby. She asks, why is this man holding me here? Pam answers, that's Dr. Gold. He delivered you. It's like, what? So Cypher delivered Marie himself. Ooh, I wonder where this is going. Well, they have some fun times remembering their parents. Marie, she asks, can I use your bathroom before I go? It's a pretty long drive. So she does, and then she notices a door open inside the room, a lot of kid stuff. And there's even a note saying, happy birthday, Annabeth. So, Annabeth was there. Pam did adopt Annabeth. Marie is furious. She questions how she could not be told this. And Pam is just like, she thinks you're a monster. You slaughtered your parents. So Marie is just like, I was a girl who got her period. That's it. It's like, damn, Marie has it rough. We as if we didn't know that. You know, all she wants is for her sister back, but her sister finds her a monster who killed her parents. But it was an accident. You know what's kind of crazy, though? If you think about the boys' timeline, all of this soup stuff happened only a handful of decades ago. Remember what we learned from Stormfront. She was injected with the first successful dose of Compound V. So it only started about a century ago, where soups were running around the planet. But that timeline kind of doesn't make sense. If she was injected with the very first successful dose back in World War II, then why a couple decades later were scientists at Vought still experimenting with Compound V, right? Like we saw in the Season 2 opening for for Gen V, Thomas Godolkin was there when they were injecting themselves with an experimental dose. So it's like, if it was the first successful dose many years ago, why is it still being tested decades later? Unless you're telling me it's kind of like the super soldier serum, or even decades later that they still can't perfect it. Anyways, So Marie goes back on campus. There's a big party going on celebrating Thomas Godolkin Day. Jordan tells Marie that he loves her too, and then Jordan gets called up on stage to give their speech. So Jordan, as a male, goes up on stage, says part of the speech that was written for him, but then he's not feeling it. This isn't right. So he looks at Marie, and then he changes, and it looked really bad. I don't know what happened. The CGI looked really bad. Jordan changing from male to female in this particular shot looked horrible. They have been really good making him swap cleanly, precisely this whole time. What happened here? I don't know what happened here. The transition happened really badly, really ugly looking, and then the camera cuts and then female Jordan's up on stage. You know, I still kind of question what the hell is even the point of Jordan swapping genders all the time. Jordan still has the same amount of resistance, regardless of the gender. Jordan is still able to use their force power, their force field power, regardless, right? Jordan doesn't have different sets of powers depending on which gender. Like, I don't know why Jordan just decides to swap genders mid-sentence. For whatever reason, it's like pretty pointless. Just cool visuals, I suppose. But yeah, now female Jordan is on stage, and she's just like, you know what? Andre is dead. So she tells the truth to the world. She reveals that Andre is dead. She also reveals that the perpetrators who attacked Kate, the Starlighters, they were innocent. Killed by Vought to cover up the story. Because the truth is, they didn't attack Kate. I did. So Jordan reveals that she was the one, and only her, she was the one who attacked Kate. And then the episode ends. Oh wait, you know what? I forgot to mention this. As Emma was chasing down Harper, you know, before she realized she was Harper, you know, during the speedster chase, she goes through this locker room and there's like a dozen naked guys there. It's like, oh, why? Why were there so many naked guys in this episode? I don't want to see that. And you know, talk about double standards, right? Season 1, we got a close-up of a penis. We did not get our close-up of a vagina. Season 2, we're seeing so many naked guys. Where's all the naked ladies at? You know, where's the equality? I'm not trying to see none of that, man. When she went into the locker room, I did not look down. I looked straight at all the guys' faces. I am not looking down. Not even out of morbid curiosity. I am not looking down. And you know what? Imagine if the roles were reversed. Imagine if one of our male characters ran into the female changing room and there was a bunch of naked chicks in there. Different story, right? But suddenly, for some reason, if it was backwards, Emma goes into the male changing room and all the guys are butt naked. Oh, suddenly that's no problem. And it's like, damn, not a single fat person in sight either. All of the guys naked in that locker room were fit as hell. Like, good for them. Good for them. Anyways, so that's pretty much it. Gen V, episode 3 of season 2. I mean, the show is getting interesting with this whole Odessa storyline building up. And the story is still pretty early on, and they're doing a lot. You know, this is only episode 3, and they already revealed that Jordan was the one who attacked Kate. Oh, also, I bet you that lady with the stinger on her back, she'll die by the end of the season. I bet you her stinger is going to go into someone, and we're going to see a very, very gross-looking stinger leave her body as she slowly dies. I bet you something like that will happen. How's everyone doing? Everyone doing good? You know, it feels great to come back and watch shows again. I have indeed not been watching these shows so that I can hold off on them to discuss them here. Well, except for Daryl Dixon. That actually was airing on TV. But now we have 2 more shows, each of which the seasons are not done yet. So we actually will have to wait weekly for those episodes. Hold on a second. Okay, now let's talk about this brand new show I am super excited to watch. I'm really excited to watch this show play out. Welcome to Derry. I've been wondering for a long time, whatever happened to this show? It's been in development for a very long time. And it's finally here. Finally. I've been waiting for this show for so long. Ever since it was announced. Like 3 years ago. And you know what? The quality is top notch. And so far, I've only seen episode 1. It was good. It was really good. Alright, so Welcome to Derry. We start off in the movie theater, where the film Music Man is being played. Isn't that the same film in WALL-E? Wasn't that the same film? So how long is this gonna take? If it were up to me, it would have ended long ago. If it were up to me, Giratina would be shiny right now. We'll just have to let fate decide how long this takes. Alright. Good try. Oh, you know what? Speaking of which, yesterday night, I had a dream. I started playing Persona 3 Portable. I had a dream I started playing that here yesterday. You know, that's a game I've been planning to play for quite a while. I planned to do it after these shiny hunts. What the game looked like? In my dream, it didn't look as old as it actually looks. It kind of looked a little bit more like Persona 4. And in my dream, obviously when I play it, I'm going to pick the female character, because that's the whole reason I'm going to even try the game. Low-key curious what your subconscious thinks it looks/plays like. Actually, here's the thing. In my dream, when I started the game, it immediately started off with the female character. No character selection choice at all. It just jumped right in. And then in my dream, it was, I don't want to say kind of open world. It was kind of like how Legend ZA played. You were able to run around in the big city. Obviously, we know that's not the case. Man, I had a dream. I remember this detail too. I streamed it for like an hour and 45 minutes and then just abruptly ended. And I was like, oh, maybe I should go back. Maybe I should continue because that was kind of short and abrupt. Where's the artist rendition? And then I remembered, oh yeah, you know what? It's a good thing that it's not that long because I wanted to do that joke in the very beginning. And if it was longer, it would take a much longer time to export and render. You'll see. You'll see what I mean when I get to playing it. Anyway, so yeah, I did plan to play P3P after these shiny hunts. It's just this is taking so long. I didn't expect these to take so long, but here we are. That game will probably be the next thing I play after these shiny hunts, because there's not a whole lot else coming up that I want to play. You know, there are games like Kirby Air Riders and Age of Imprisonment. However, I don't have a Switch 2. Like, there's not a lot of, like, long games I want to play from beginning to end. There's not a whole lot of that right now, so that game will probably be the next thing I play. It's just when these freaking shiny hunts will finish, then I'll get to it. Anyway, so let's get back to it. Welcome to Derry, a show I have been waiting for a very long time. We open up inside the movie theater with the movie Music Man playing. And we meet our character to start off with. His name is Maddie. We actually don't even learn his name is Maddie until after, you know, what happens. So Maddie gets chased out by one of the people working at the theater, because Maddie has been sneaking in for free films a lot of times. So Maddie gets chased out. You know, he's hiding behind one of those boards, one of those cardboard cutouts, advertising the film in the lobby. And one of the staff workers' daughters spots him, but she chooses not to out him. Her name is Ronnie. So once Maddie is actually chased out of the theater, you know, he's on the road alone in the winter. He's trying to hitchhike. A car passes him and doesn't stop for him. Another car passes and actually stops for him. So Maddie gets in. It's a man, a woman, 2 kids in the back, a younger brother and an older sister. The young brother is spelling words. Even the woman is just like, he's going through a phase right now. He spells everything. And then the older sister isn't really having her brother's shit. She sticks her fingers in a little container of literally labeled liver. She sticks her finger in there, smells her fingers, and tries to get Maddie to smell her fingers. And then things start de-escalating quickly, or rather escalating. Things start going downhill quickly, I should say. Where the woman is just like, spell this. And then the son spells it. It's more and more creepy words like spell kidnapping, spell vasectomy, spell other words. And then, you know, everything turns red, all the lights turn red. Maddie wanted to leave Derry, but then without the car turning even once, they start driving back to Derry. And then the woman, it turns out she was pregnant. The camera never panned down to her belly, so we didn't even know she was pregnant. So the family spelling out O-U-T, O-U-T, O-U-T. She's about to go into labor, and it's like, looks like something else wants to get O-U-T right now. So she gives birth on the spot. Once again, they always depict this. They always depict childbirth happening in like minutes, seconds. When in reality, childbirth can take hours. 12 hours it could even take. But she just brute forces it. She just pushes that thing out. I can't believe it went into so much detail too. We didn't actually see, you know, the lips spread apart. But what we did see was a camera pan down, her legs spread apart with her dress covering, and then so much blood came out. The baby was forming a bulge on her panties. It's just like, oh my god, there is so much detail here. You know, in childbirth, there's actually a lot of blood that comes out. I heard stories of the fathers fainting when they see just what happens. I don't know, maybe I'll faint if I actually see it in person. It's different seeing it on screen compared to seeing it in person. So the baby pushes out on the spot, but no, that's not a human child. That is some sort of like monster baby with bat wings flying around. Obviously, we know that thing is it. It's not Pennywise. It is Pennywise. It's it. It is it, just not in Pennywise form. Remember, it can take the form of pretty much anything it wants. It just favors the form of Pennywise the clown. So it causes a car crash, a car accident, whatever. Maddie's dead. Alright, we pretty much know Maddie's dead. Pennywise is able to warp reality itself. He's able to control people just to mess things up. So Pennywise, or it, causes all of this to scare the life out of Maddie before consuming Maddie, before killing Maddie. Because remember, Pennywise likes to season up his food before he eats them. Seasons them up with fear. So then we cut to 4 months later. It is now April of 1962. So 4 months ago, that should have been January 1962. Or end of December, depending on the specifics. So we see some of the adult side. And I don't mean like, you know, adult content. I mean literally adults in this world. So we see Major Hanlon arrive at some military base. I believe is right outside of Derry. And, well, he's already met with some racism, because, you know, it's 1962. And then, what was the character's name again? General Shaw stomps that racism out immediately, played by James Remar, or Remmer. W actor right there. Great to see a project he's in again. I watched him for 4 seasons on Black Lightning. So, let's see. We meet a handful of characters. Only, by the end of the episode, only one really matters. We meet Lily, and I was wondering too, why does she look so familiar? Where have I seen her before? What other project have I seen her in? So I looked it up. Ah, that's right. That's where I know Clara Stack from. She played young Kate Bishop in the flashback in Hawkeye. That's where I know her from. I knew she looked familiar. She played young Kate Bishop during the attack on New York flashback in Hawkeye. It's kind of wild to imagine she grows up to becoming Haley Steinfeld. In hindsight, they look nothing alike. Anyways, we meet Lily. Typical school stuff, typical high school stuff. A jar of pickles. We learn about that a little bit later. We also meet her friend, Marge. We meet her friend Marge, who seems like she's really trying to be popular. But, her friend Lily is just making it really hard for her to be noticed by the popular girls. We also see we meet two other boys. One is named Teddy, the other one is Phil. I can't tell if they're brothers or best friends. I think they're best friends. Phil is more of the conspiracy type. He's just like, there are aliens in that base. There are aliens walking among us. And then he also spews a bunch of other nonsense that kids do. Like, why do men have nipples? I believe it's so we can breastfeed in case anything happens to all the women. So that men can actually handle it. Something like that. And he is also one horny boy, looking out the window to the woman next door. But then the cat ruins it as she's about to take her bra off. And one thing we learn about all of these characters is that they all feel guilt after what happened to Maddie. Because it turns out Phil and Teddy, they weren't even really friends with him. In fact, they were paid by Maddie's mom with candy to show up to Maddie's birthday party, but they didn't even show up. That would suck pretty bad. Maddie with no friends, two boys your age, approach you and be like, hey man, we're gonna show up to your birthday party. Doesn't tell him about the bribe part. But, Maddie's excited. He has no friends. Hey, two boys actually seem like they want to be my friends and said they're gonna show up to my birthday party. And then they don't show up. So, yeah, they feel guilt, or Teddy feels more guilt. Because now that Maddie has vanished, he's disappeared, he's missing, and probably presumed dead, they feel guilt. Like, why didn't we help him? Why weren't we there for him when he needed us? If we were there, maybe Maddie wouldn't have tried to run away, and maybe he wouldn't be gone right now. Lily also feels guilt, because in a flashback, Maddie took Lily up to their secret little boys' hideout, their hangout spot. Supposedly, Maddie's not allowed to take anyone there, let alone a girl, without consulting the other two boys. So, Maddie and Lily talk there. She reveals something that happened to her father at, the pickle factory or whatever. She forgot something inside, so her father went back in to grab it for her, but then some sort of industrial accident happened where it sounded like he died a pretty gruesome death. The death I'm picturing in mind, because she mentioned something about gears. What was the character's name again in that film? Oh, Gordon, that's right. It reminded me, you guys remember the 2012 film that came out in 2009? Gordon, he got crushed to death by the gears in the ship. That's the kind of death I picture. So, yeah, that's a pretty brutal death. So Maddie, after the fireworks happen, Maddie tries to go in for a kiss, but Lily's just not feeling it. So then Maddie, out of shame and embarrassment, he just walks away. Lily is just trying to be like, no, don't leave. But Maddie, he still leaves. So Lily feels guilt about it as well. Like, she pushed him away when, he was trying to get close with someone. And now Maddie's gone. So everyone feels guilt after what happened to Maddie. He's gone now. So Lily, she's about to draw a bath, but then she hears a voice coming from her drain pipe. She looks down. She recognizes that it's Maddie's voice. So she looks down and cries like, Maddie, is that you? Tell me where you are. And then we see bloody fingers come out of the pipe. So Lily talks to Phil and Ted about what she heard. She swears on her life that it's Maddie. She recognizes his voice. I mean, what if Maddie really is alive somewhere in the sewers, trying to reach out? Understandably, Phil is just like, all right, let's say he really is alive. He would have to be in the sewers, underground, somehow survive for months, somehow knew how to communicate through a specific pipeline to talk to Lily, and happened to know exactly when she was about to get into the tub. But Ted is just like, you pretty much convinced me about all of your crazy alien conspiracies, so why is this so hard to believe? So the three of them, they go and investigate. They go to the school library, and I think it was Phil's little sister who also joined them because they couldn't find a babysitter. So they look through the old newspaper articles, because remember, this is 1962. This is before the internet. So they look through the newspaper articles and they find one on Maddie, boy who vanishes, last seen at the theater by this girl who worked there. So they go to the theater, they talk to Ronnie. At first she tells them to get lost, go away. Do you know how many cops have questioned us already? So they bring up the fact that, well, as they were about to leave, they bring up that Lily heard Maddie through the pipes. And Ronnie's just like, wait a second, what did you just say? I heard that too. Oh, right. There was a scene where Teddy was having dinner with his family. And just to mention it, his family is Jewish. So during dinner, Teddy asks his dad, do you think it's possible for someone to keep a child in the sewers alive, say, for months? So Teddy's dad is just like, we are Jewish. We know firsthand how cruel, how evil, how horrible the world is. Because, the stuff that happened to Jews not long beforehand. And also, it turns out Teddy is a pretty big comics fan. He reads The Flash, he read Batman, Clayface, Superman. I mean, all of those are pretty relevant right now. Remember, Andy Muschietti, he also directed the Flash movie. Clayface, he's getting a film next year. Superman, he just got a film. And, well, Batman's Batman. So, during nighttime, Teddy's dad during dinner mentions that they would use the skin of Jews or whatever as lampshades. Lampshades. So at night, while Teddy is in bed reading his comic book, his lamp constantly flickers off, so he turns it back on, and then one time, the lampshade actually has a bunch of faces screaming at him. And it almost kind of resembles Maddie. So now Teddy also believes that something weird is going on. Anyways, back to it. So they go to the theater. Ronnie plays the Music Man movie for them to watch, and they start noticing weird things. They notice Maddie himself is in the film. They're just like, how is that possible? Maddie, over here. Come on, come over here. We'll help you. Follow our voice. But we all know that's not Maddie. Because Maddie on screen is just like, you left me. You lied. He points his head down, points his head back up, and there's an enormous smile. And then out from the screen comes that demonic flying baby creature, it. And then one by one slaughters all the kids. Slaughters Ted, slaughters Phil, slaughters the little sister. However, Lily was able to make it out alive. There were a lot of turtle references in this episode as well. I mean, Stephen King, his whole the world is on top of the back of a giant turtle, that kind of thing. I think it'd be really cool to get confirmation that's really the case in universe. Like, I really hope we see that at some point. And then there's a little bit more storyline with Hanlon. While he's driving, there's the driver constantly gives him the death stare, the side eye. And I think that's a character from The Shining. I'm not too sure. Some stuff about Hanlon. He mentioned the Korean War, how he was there for that as well. He doesn't like talking about it, though. And then at night, he closes the window, and we see this, like, almost cabal. Mortal Kombat, specifically Mortal Kombat 11, looking cabal outside. Thought it was Pennywise, but no. There were two of them, and it really was some people looking for, like, military information from Hanlon. But then, he's saved by his friend, whatever his name was. Anyway, so yeah, the first episode to Welcome to Derry. It was really good. I can't wait to see more. Okay, I need to pee real quick, and then I'll be right back. No shiny still, I see. Whew. How crazy is it? I'm way more excited for Welcome to Derry than Peacemaker and Gen V. I mean, Welcome to Derry is something brand new. We've already had a season for Peacemaker and Gen V. And it has been quite a while since the last time we saw Pennywise. Wasn't it Chapter 2 in 2019, so 6 years ago? God, I love movies. I love TV shows. I think it would be so fun to actually make them, you know? I feel like that'd be so much fun, don't you? Making movies, making TV shows. I feel like that'd be so fun. If not acting in front of the camera, then being behind the camera. Seeing the magic happen. Seeing the actors do their thing. I think that'd be so fun. Even like the really late nighttime shots, like getting up for like a 3 a.m. shot. I think that'd be so fun. This Giratina is really not going to be shiny, huh? Alright, we got one more show to talk about, so let's get into it. Season 2 of Hazbin Hotel. Finally. Animation is clean. Let me say that. Animation is clean, and I think the episodes are a little bit longer, too. Wasn't last season episodes like 20 minutes long? This episode was like 30 minutes long. So more content. Yay! And sad to say that I still have not seen Hell of a Boss yet. Normally, I watch things in the order that we should, you know? I mean, I watched Gen V in between the boys seasons. Believe it or not, I just haven't really had time. And motivation. I'll get to it. I will. I'll get to it eventually. Alright, so, Hazbin Hotel Season 2. We open up with a news report by Katie Killjoy and Tom Trench. I can't lie, her voice does not match. Brandon Rogers' voice does not match Katie Killjoy. I much prefer the voice she had in the pilot, the YouTube pilot. Her voice does not match whatsoever. And turns out Brandon Rogers voices a character on Hell of a Boss as well. I don't know which character, I don't know how the character sounds. Do they sound the same? So, Katie Killjoy and Tom Trench are reporting to all of hell that the hotel, the Hazbin Hotel, has confirmed from the last extermination that it is possible to kill angels. And now that hell knows this, the hotel is packed. There are guests everywhere filling up the lobby. Vaggie just can't seem to, sign them in, book them in fast enough. The bar is completely flooded where... Oh, shit. Husker. Jesus, why did I blank on his name? Husker can't even serve them fast enough, and apparently there's a new drink now called Harder Daddy. Literally, that's the drink. The name of the drink. Harder Daddy. And they make jokes to it throughout the episode, too. Like, I want a Harder Daddy. I'm gonna go get me a Harder Daddy. I could use some Harder Daddy. So, there are paparazzi, there are the press all over the hotel while there are sinners flooding the lobby. Alistair, he actually didn't do anything in the episode. He just took a step back and watched. He even had a line like, could I help? Yes. Do I want to help? No. Wait, no. Could I help? Wait. Something like, could I help? Yes. Will I help? No. Do I like being an inconvenience? Very much so. So there are reporters asking, where Miss Morningstar is. And also Vaggie, she's trying to change her name. We'll get into that later on. So she goes up to, the manager suite or whatever, where she is watching over Pentius's eggs, his little egg minions, and she's in there crying and grieving over the death of her friend. You can see Charlie is, kind of falling apart here. Because she's taking Pentius's death really hard. Because at this point, they still don't know that Pentius was redeemed and made it to heaven. They don't know that. They just assume he's dead. He's gone. Which, they still aren't very clear about that. These guys are already dead. They're in hell. They already died, and they're now in the afterlife. So, to them, what happens if they, die? Do they just don't exist anymore? There's nothing? No afterlife? No afterlife? So, Charlie goes down to the lobby, greets her absolutely packed hotel, and she meets a brand new, very small character, Baxter. She compares him to Pentius, because Baxter's a scientist, a mad scientist, and Pentius was an inventor. And then they break out into song. Am I crazy, or was the V's portion of the song better than Charlie's? So over at V Tower, Vox, he questions Katie Killjoy on what this reporting is. Why is it so positive? We need people to be scared. We need to strike fear into the people. Because Vox, he wants to spin the hotel's reputation in a way that will serve himself. And so, during the song, a bunch of sinners leave. One sinner in particular gets kind of roped into the V's, where throughout the song, she signs a contract, and then she gets out of favor by the internet, hell's internet. And then they kick her out in the streets. So there seems to be some sort of miscommunication with the hotel. A lot of sinners there believe that, staying at the hotel means they get to kill angels. But no, they're missing the point of the hotel. The hotel's point is redemption to gain access to heaven. Baxter is here because he wants to study the concept of redemption. So Charlie, she finally grows a backbone. Wait, after she has a talk with her father, because she's kind of breaking under the pressure of all the press, questioning her, getting the wrong idea of the hotel. So Lucifer teleports in to save his daughter. He's just like, "What's that?" Teleports away with a rubber ducky left behind. So Lucifer gives his daughter some advice, and then the two of them, they miss Lilith. So Charlie, she tries to call her mother, but once again doesn't answer. So Charlie finally grows a backbone, goes down to the lobby and tells everyone, hey, this hotel is not for killing angels. There's no violence. If you want to stay here, this hotel is for redemption. Anyone else not here for redemption, please leave. So everyone leaves. Everyone leaves except for Baxter. There was also this reporter throughout the episode who's just like, should I kill my wife? Should I murder my wife? And then it just progressively goes on like, I killed my wife. I killed her. I regret killing her. So stupid. When did he even find the time to do that too? There's this other reporter that looks very old school cartoon-like. Black and white cartoon. Bendy and the Ink Machine old style looking cartoon. I gotta say, the art style is superb. I'll give him that. We also learned that Vaggie wants to change her name. She, throughout the episode, goes through different names starting with V. Because Vaggie was the name that Adam gave her, and she finds it demeaning now. So she wants to change her name, something that she feels is right for herself. And she's just like, she kind of sticks with the whole Vag part. I think Alistair even called her Vagine early in the episode. That was pretty funny. Husker is just like, why don't you lose the Vag part in the name? She's working on it. So we also get this group meeting between Vox, Valentino, and Velvet. They have this like elite staff meeting. First of all, there was a callback to... Shit, what was her name again? I'm blanking on her name right now. Carmilla Carmine, that's it. There was a callback to the feud, the call-out Velvet had with Carmilla Carmine, and Vox is just like, you can't do that. That's bad publicity. So Vox has now decided what he wants to do. Now that he knows angels can be killed, what they'll do is they will strike heaven. They will attack heaven, take over heaven, so that they can have all the power between heaven and hell. Valentino asks some of the right questions. Why do we even need heaven when we have hell? And how would we even get up there? We even hear a little bit of backstory for Vox. It's kind of shocking that we barely hear any backstory for any of our characters, but we suddenly hear some for Vox. When he was alive on Earth, he was a very powerful leader of a certain group, a cult, if you will. And he never felt closer to God, as in like he never felt closer to being a god. But now he really could become a god. He could go to heaven, overtake the throne, take over the throne, and have all the power, period. So that's kind of their plan. Vox wants to rally hell to launch an attack on heaven and take over. If anything, I'm kind of surprised this hasn't happened sooner. But hey, our characters didn't know that angels could be killed. Didn't I say during Season 1 that the extermination, heaven attacking hell, wouldn't that just more so incite war than actually stopping it and having peace? Wouldn't heaven constantly attacking hell kind of just wage war more than anything? Because we know there can be casualties in heaven or hell. But you have to also keep in mind, you know what's between heaven and hell? Earth. And if a war breaks out between heaven and hell, Earth is in the middle. Earth is in the middle of that battlefield. There will be countless casualties, you know? So let's see. By the end of the episode, as Charlie and Vaggie were talking, Vaggie gets up to go and get Charlie a harder daddy, and then Emily shows up from a portal. And she's just like, I don't have a lot of time, there's a lot of things I need to tell you, heaven is in lockdown because, you know, now hell knows that angels can be killed. Also, Penchis was redeemed, your plan worked, your hotel actually works, and he's up in heaven right now. Okay, bye! And then Charlie just screams. I actually thought Charlie would be a little more happy to hear that her plan works. Penchis is in heaven, so he's not dead. But no, that just incites panic and fear in Charlie. Like, oh shit, it actually works. As if hell wasn't divided already. Like, no one in hell actually takes redemption seriously. Everyone just scoffs at it and think it's a joke. Redemption's not possible. We're hell. We're sinners in hell. Redemption's not possible. No one takes the concept of redemption seriously. Sorry, I had a burp that won't come out. But now that Charlie knows it actually works, yeah, that could be pretty problematic before it actually gets good. And you know, there was also a line that Lucifer said that is just like, oh yeah, that did happen. So Charlie asks her father how he can handle the pressure of being in charge of everything all the time. Because Charlie's kind of folding from all the pressure of being in charge of the hotel. Lucifer's just like, it's only natural that you're kind of not in the right headspace right now. Your friend did just die. It's also revealed that season 1 ended a month ago. Like 1 month has passed since the end of season 1. Lucifer said, your friend just died and your old hotel was kind of destroyed. It's like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was the case, wasn't it? The previous hotel was completely totaled during the angel attack at the end of season 1, and they've rebuilt a new one. Oh yeah, that's right. The hotel was destroyed at the end of season 1. There was also a lot of sinners cheering on Nifty because she was the one who killed Adam. There was also this one sinner who's just like, Nifty, can you stab me? And she just shanks her right in the gut. People are just cheering Nifty. They are tossing her in the air. And she's just like, hee hee hee, I like being touched. In the typical psychopath Nifty style. But yeah, Alistair really did nothing in this episode. He just stood back and just watched the chaos unfold. Kind of wish he did a little bit more. We're talking about Alistair here. Also, it seems like his staff, his cane, is, I don't know, welded together again. Remember, Adam broke his staff, his cane, his microphone in their battle from the last season. I find that kind of crazy, though, the fact that Adam was able to overpower Alistair. It's Alistair we're talking about. There was also this scene with Cherry Bomb. She's just like, oh, why did Penchis have to save me? And then he liked me? What was that about? Oh, I wish I could see him right now. To, like, punch him in the face. You know what? I ship it. I want to see Penchis and Cherry Bomb hook up. So yeah, I'm excited to see where the season goes. Because it seems like the V's are going to play a bigger role in the season, as well as there's going to be more retaliation between heaven and hell. And I'm very curious too, will Vaggie actually change her name? And then for the rest of the series, we have to get used to calling her a different name? Because we've been calling her Vaggie for what, like 6 years now? When did the pilot come out? Yep, 6 years ago. More than 6 years ago. Oh yeah, we just passed the 6-year mark of the Has-Been Hotel pilot. 6 years! Well, anyways, there's all 4 shows. Now, we do have episodes for all 4 to discuss next time, but eventually we're going to run out of the other 2. Because Welcome to Derry and Has-Been Hotel, they're still airing. The seasons aren't done yet, so eventually we're going to get to a point where we have to stop because a new episode hasn't come out yet. Well, we're almost done for today, and it seems like Giratina still won't be shiny. I swear, I'm very tempted to try out Ultra Sun, see if Giratina will shine there. Oh yeah, one more thing. The second song in the first episode, because usually each episode has like 2 songs. The second song sounded very retro, didn't it? Sounded very like, kind of like the electric. What's it called again? Jacint's theme sounded very like electro something. Electric Slam? I don't remember. Well, this will be the last one for tonight. Okay, bye. Can you believe this thing still isn't shiny yet?